This is perhaps the most important part of this session, where we get to hear your concrete ideas for concrete action. And I'd like to just reinforce that we are looking for your ideas on very specific actions. If you have a time frame associated with this action, we want to hear that. We want to hear your views on the overall package of recommendations in the roadmap. Is that the suite that should be included? Are there additional ones that need to be identified for the suite to be complete? We want to hear any expressions of interest in you participating as an individual or your organization participating in continuing the work that will be identified in the roadmap. Specifically, we want to know whether you've got time, energy, resources, any other contributions that you or your organization want to bring to the table. Again, we're focusing on ideas that are urgently needed to strengthen, improve stewardship across Canada at the local, regional, and national level. And I open the floor now to all of you. We're looking forward to your further ideas about the specific actions that need to be included in the roadmap, and your concrete ideas about how those actions should be framed and the time frame in which they should operate. Please identify yourself and your organization if that's appropriate. We have note takers, of course, and we want to make sure that they can identify the remarks clearly with the speakers. Please go ahead.
I'm Reg Newell. I'm the Stewardship Coordinator with the Department of Natural Resources in Nova Scotia. When I read through that report, when I read through those recommendations, the first recommendation that I see, the number one recommendation, it's even numbered number one, is, and that to me would mean it's the most important. And I cannot believe that the definition of stewardship is the most important recommendation that we can make. I'd reverse the numbers to start with. Secondly, if you spend more than an hour trying to define stewardship, then you might as well give up. It's not that, everyone does have their own version of stewardship, and if someone can come up with a definition there that it suits everyone, then I suggest they start working on biodiversity, riparian, sustainability. They all mean different things to different people, and it's not that crucial. And if you do want a definition, I think Preston Manning gave it to you. He said stewardship is a partnership of the land and the people, and that's all you need. It covers everything. My fear is that you're going to define stewardship. It's going to go into a funding source. Groups that are involved in stewardship that don't meet that definition of stewardship won't get that funding. And if you've got a very narrow definition that suits just certain criteria, then I'm afraid that's not going to work well. So I would not put that as my number one recommendation.
Sorry, I missed the last thing you said.
I wouldn't put that as my number one recommendation. I don't know how is that any better? The second one up there is, I'm not going to go through all these, by the way, don't panic. The second one up there is great. Having measurable biodiversity and ecological goods and services targets is great. My fear there is that stewardship isn't something that's always measurable. And having those as targets is good, but I think there should be a recognition that there are community groups out there that are doing great stewardship. Actually, maybe some of their best efforts are stuff that they can't measure. They're having an impact on communities, and they don't know even if they're having that impact, but it will take 20 years down the road to know if they have. And so it's important that even though you have your goals, you recognize that some stewardship things cannot be measured. And working in stewardship, I'd say about half the activities that I do can't be measured. I think I'm having an impact. I don't know for sure. Then the one that I really think is important and should be number one is I think there should be a National Stewardship Fund, but it also should be a National Stewardship Council to oversee that funding. And I think that if we can get that funding, the rest of those recommendations fall under that and can be put under that category. So if you get number 6, you've got it all. So anyway, that's all I've got to say.
Thank you.
Vern Evans with the Land Stewardship Center. all sorts of comments. Being a bear of little brain, I'm kind of fading now, but I'm also buzzing full of ideas. So related to your July 11, 19, I'll do my best. It's a short window and there are other priorities. I'm hoping that as you progress from there, that you would be able to at least post in some way aspects, if not all, of your progress, that our collective contribution may not end at the 19th. You know, that the large contribution hopefully will be given to you by then. That somehow you, to some degree, keep that door open for us through the next few months. And I know that's putting an onus on you. The other thing that I want to offer to us in the planning is to focus on the actual physical actions. We tend to be preaching to the converted here. And I think we really need to pay attention to the things that we can do out there on the ground. And part of the problem is recruitment. We here are committed, but there are many others who are less committed who would be nonetheless willing to take on a short-term job if we knew how to recruit them. I'm pleading for the inclusion of more social scientists who know the dynamics of groups, volunteers, volunteer recruitment and retention and other sorts of things that most of us have not had in our training. If I read this group right, we tend to be biologists. And the third one is that as you develop this material, to engage probably on a voluntary basis 2 or 3 or 4 professional communicators who can look at what you produce and say, could I effectively deliver this as an MC, as a broadcaster, or as a PR person, and get that kind of feedback. And what I find traditionally our reports are pretty technical and pretty jargonistic to the people who are not in this room.
Those are helpful suggestions.
Thank you. I'm Dave Neve. I'm part of the Model Forest community. I think all of you have seen the display, at least I hope you have. We deal with stewardship on private woodlots and crown forests. And this has been an excellent conference. I've been to all 4 conferences, and this is by far, we've moved the yardsticks a lot further. But I am concerned at almost 4 o'clock that we still haven't got much of an action plan. And I'd like to say that the Model Forest community is very interested in participating in the planning and development over the next few months, and that we are willing to provide some financial resources to make sure it happens.
Those are very encouraging and inspiring words, and I'd urge the rest of you to think about whether your organizations can contribute in like kind.